This is my kilt. 3 films in and it's not really finished, but this will be the last part of this kilt story. So where did we leave off?
I burnt it. Ah yes. Well, I did burn it, and there's nothing I can do about that, except press on. Only a few jobs left: the buckles and straps, the top band, and the lining. The top band was easy. I had plenty of scraps from cutting the kilt to shape, so I pulled out a suitable piece, squared it off, and cut it to length. I cheated and machine sewed this on. With right sides facing, lining up the raw edges, I ran a straight stitch along the length. The band was folded over and pinned down before being top stitched in place. To attach the buckles, I pulled out some fabric that would match the specific pleat and fashioned these straps. I actually quite liked the heavy bar tacks and chose to make the sporran loops in the same way, but I tried to machine stitch them all into place, which was stupid, as I snapped a needle and upset the machine. This is the point where I gave up on filming, so this is the finished garment. And it definitely is a very unique kilt. I'm really happy with the patchwork. The pleats have a bit of swish to them, and I was well complimented for my efforts. Yes, I did manage to finish in time for the wedding, and even paired it with a matching tie and flashings. I did spend the morning of the wedding restitching some of the seams I had popped on its first wear, but that was a quick fix. However, the main concern of this film is the kilt's faults, of which there are many. The first being its size. It's way too big around the waist. So much so that I had to become quite proficient at rearranging myself during the dancing to avoid revealing if I had dressed as a true Scot. This was a culmination of various faults stemming from this tape measure. It is woefully inaccurate, meaning that none of the precise measurements needed in the pleats were correct. So the actual fit around the waist is 97cm, not the 91 I had been aiming for. I can't blame it all on the measure though, as my sewing is all over the place, and really this needed unpicking after I first noticed that things weren't going to plan. The other fault is my choice of materials. Apart from this herringbone, they were all too lightweight, and these two are definitely not wool. This meant that the cloth hasn't held the press. Wearing it in Singapore's humidity effectively undid all my work with the iron, and this kilt will need to be repressed every time I wear it, which I'm unlikely to do unless I put on some considerable weight. The final fault to point out is my inexperience with the task of making the kilt. A kilt is not an easy garment to make. It is a craft that must be mastered. I made a valiant attempt, but practice is required. I am confident that I could rip this back down to its components and improve with a second attempt, but I'm certain there would be further faults to mend, and I'm just not able, or honestly interested enough, to put in that time. If you're planning your own kilt project, I would definitely recommend getting The Art of Kilt Making, as it does have all the information you need and is as straightforward as it can be. I wouldn't necessarily go straight to tartan. Figuring out the sets or stripes seems a difficult skill in itself to master, but there are benefits to having the pattern to confirm your measurements. I would, however, get the highest quality wool available, as this is necessary for the pressing to hold. My final advice is not to do this to a time limit. I had 8 weeks to make my kilt, and it shows. I would recommend sewing the pleats multiple times to get practice at this specific skill, with lots of measuring in between. Any other mistake can be worked around, but if your pleats aren't perfect, the garment will never fit properly. There is heaps of information in my series of kilt films, mainly on not what to do, and you can find the playlist in the iCard. But I think this is the last you'll see of kilts on this channel for some time. However, people keep getting married, and I really did enjoy wearing this garment, so you never know, this might not be the last time you see my patchwork kilt.